just want to reiterate two things. One, that even though I mentioned last week that it comes out from the Shach, the Minig, that if you remember the Shach, Sif Kotten Tes, that talking about over here, Bishul Akum, Pas Akum, Pas Palter, we're talking about. Again, Pas Palter, let me just briefly go over. Pas Palter means bakery bread. And let me just quickly go over that. Chazal went and asked to eat bread from a goy, and they included not just the next door neighbor baking, but even a bakery. Then the Sanhedrin saw that was too difficult not to eat bakery bread, and there were matter bakery bread. There was a machlokes how far the heter went. And then that we saw. The Mechaber says the heter was only if there is no Jewish bakery. So if there is a Jewish bakery, then you can't eat pas palter. So I was teasing the Svardim. I always tease when they're not makbid and pas. So you don't have to eat a baba. They always think you're baba. You don't think you're a baba. Just Svardim have to be machmer. Mechaber is very machmer. He holds that as long as there's Jewish bakery, pas so you're not already pas. The Remu says not that way. And the Remu says even if there's a kosher bakery, pas Yisrael, and there's a goyish bakery, you're allowed to go buy. But the mini, that's what the Shah says. But then better to be machmer. The Aruch HaShulchan, many Chaim bring, there was a minig, it's nothing to do with Chabad. Many people were always machmer not to eat pas palter. Period. Now, last week we were just talking about, people always, teenagers always ask me about Stella I can't pronounce these cookies. Cookies, and someone asked me Drake's cake. Someone afterward told me it was a cake. Then New York, if you're living in New York, you don't know what you're missing out. Well, what? Entenmann's cake, something like that. It was a cake which was I grew up in New York. I remember this cake. But the bottom line is, again, it's the minig. But I want to explain. If the minig is that way, many achronim hold becomes like a neder. You can't change the minig. You have to be matar neder, because it says when people do it because of machlokes, paskim, or machmer. Okay, so we're machmer because there's opinion this, opinion on machmer. Here, everyone agrees it shouldn't mitter, except you took upon yourself to do it more, then it becomes a neder. Then it becomes a.
That's only if they're equal quality, correct? Or
even not. There's some hold the minig was that even in Chabad, not just I know Chabad people scream about, but this Aruch HaShulchan wasn't lit, and he brings in his place. There was also that many that they didn't eat pas palter no matter what. Now I want to explain. This is only pas palter. That means not when the balabais makes the next door neighbor makes cookies, then it's a problem, and not when the company makes bishul akum. You have to remember this is a kula bread made by bakery. If a restaurant or the big companies make food, you have to always judge why can we eat the food? Why is not a problem of bishul? There's no heter of a company making only by bread, which is a kula of pas. That's the focus.
Bread and cookies are in the
same category. So we spoke about cookies, the same category, and that's why it's hard to say to someone, young children, that they can't eat these cookies, whatever these cookies' names are. You know what I mean? I never let my children, they never ate it, but I'm just saying people always ask me, yes?
So having an OU one doesn't necessarily mean it could be called mascal.
For sure.
And infamous, by the way, is OUD. So
OUD.
it has dairy in it. It's straight or it's stale.
Is there a reason why somebody once told me that French baguettes in France is okay?
I don't know what French baguette.
Danny was a.
What's baguette?
A baguette means a bread. He probably meant that they think that there's no chazan in it.
Oh, no, that doesn't. If you just because again, let's say it's more delicious. Let's say for the sake of it's better, nicer, sweeter, better bread. So again, that would be the machlokes. According to some, you're allowed to. Halacha, you would allow to. You can't get such bread. But the minig, lamasa, many people have a minig. Doesn't make a difference.
According to halacha of the Ashkenaz.
According to Ashkenazim, halacha will be mitter. But if you have the minig not to do it, you can't do it. You understand what I'm saying? You have to know the minig.
What did you say you have to make a neder for?
If again, Chabad people, right? I understand Chabad people are very makpid and paspalter. That means you don't eat these cookies and this. So if a guy says, I want to change and eat it, he literally has to be matar neder.
Okay. For like a bezin?
Yeah, in front of 3 people.
That's the best.
Bezin of wise people or bezin of regular people?
Wise people will convince him not to be matzah. People like to buy Tauber.
So, bread and just regular cooking. So, As Yisrael and Bishul Yisrael do the same thing. Meaning, it could just take a year to light the fire and it become.
We later learned that there's more coolest about bread than bishul. We later learned has different, but more. What he's asking with Susi, Chazal made more coolest than bread. Lamashal, bread you could just throw in a small piece of toothpick, and that will make it okay. But bishul, we're very, very machmer. Even Sfardim for sure. If we're going to be Shalakim, I think Abu Sfardi is never going to eat in a restaurant, in the Ashkenaz restaurant. Sfardim are extremely machmer. But we'll see, there's different rules and regulations we'll later see.
So, by Chol Yisrael, if somebody wants to keep Chol Stam, for sure they have to make a neder.
No. The reason why he doesn't have to matar neder, because Cholov, the Machmirim, know that it's a machlokes. Whenever there's a machlokes, you machmer like an opinion, that means you're machmer. It doesn't mean that I took it a neder. Why not? There's a machlokes, the Moshe admitted, or the Chassidish one and also you're machmer. Then you don't need the matar neder. When you matar neder is something that's clear, it's mutter. Nothing to talk about. And just for some reason, they accepted the chumrah this way, then it becomes like a neder. You follow? Something, I'm going to repeat this again. Something that's for show is okay according to everyone. This famous cookie, Stella Dera cookie, should be, or this French bread, if it's kosher, this French bread, it is for surely mutter a halacha to buy that bread. The Ashkenazim. To accept, many Ashkenazim accepted the minig not to do it. So that is beyond on the halacha. That makes it into a neder. But what he's asking, let's say cholav yisrael cholav akum. We're machmer. Many people don't eat cholav akum. Because it's a machlekes. Moshe elders meter, other gedolim elders also machmer. If a guy, that's what I tell people with children. They made a big fuss. We'll later get to it in Simalak. And who has a baby? You have young babies. Simalak is for baby formula, and it's not. You just had a baby. What do you give? Your wife nurses?
Yeah,
but that OUD, it's cholav stam. Now they made a big tumult in New York. Tumult. If it's children, you don't have to make such a tumult. But talking about baby, and they made Simalak with cholav yisrael. It was 8 times the price the first time it came out. 8. I don't know. This is many years ago. I don't know what goes on now in New York, but someone told me. And people don't have money, never have go schnall for that. You have to speak up. But there's room here, guys. That's a business. Hank, you could come here. Come. Zatach Mekarev.
If we're saying it's machlokes, then the tumult is very rational. Chas v'shalom, we're saying it's almost straight. It's a machlokes.
That have to ask your local rabbi. But I cannot answer that because in a halacha, that you have to ask how you rely on your pesik. But certain people in Satmar, cholav stam was like, which is all due respect, we'll get to it. You'll see that it's a big chomer. Moshe had the to get eyes. We'll get to it. Learn it inside. Okay. Yes.
In a case of a minhag, what I was talking about.
A what?
In a case of a minhag and
yes.
that's only if the minhag is an uninterrupted minhag, or that's the minhag. How would that apply for Baal Tshuva?
Doesn't about Shuba doesn't have that many. That's true. Doesn't have a many. That's true. I just want to say there's a Elchonon, bring down, just want to speak out when we don't have this Nisayan, but it seems that at times of the Shulchan Aruch, when, you see, bread was a big thing, and the goy would send breads. I don't get the picture, but in a case where there's a goy, you're afraid of the goyim, they made rules, it was like, they wanted a bakery to make money, and they didn't want the Jews to open their bakery, so it was a problem. So the Pasuk says, whenever there's a problem like this, you're allowed to buy the bread. And I'm talking about there was a time, bakery, you have to have permission to open a bakery. I don't know if it was like a franchise, you got to pay the government, the local government. And if the Jews stopped buying bread there, they got into trouble. So the place can bring down the Raifan or Shalma. Whenever there's such a situation, you're allowed to buy the bread. You don't have to. Let me just see what else I wrote down. Okay. Let's see. Zug the Machaber wheel to Gimel, right? Yesh Misha Shimpalter Hizman Yisrael, if a baker invited Yisrael, is a pitoi kapas balabais. Let me explain, this is a little bit a difficult machaber. Let me explain Siv Gimel, the last line. There's a machlokes between the Rashba and the Re'u. And let me tell you a historical thing it's kedai to know. You heard about the Rashba. The Rashba made a sefer called the Torah Sabayis. The Rashba, let me just tell you what the Bis Yosef says about the Rashba. The Rashba, the Bis Yosef calls him Or Hu Oiris, Amid Hu Oilam. He calls him the light of all lights, the pillars of the entire Klal Yisrael. The Rashba was incredible big. It's his greatness. He made a sefer called Torah Sabayis. The Re'u, there was a Rabbi Levi, was the Rebbe of the Ran. He made a sefer on it called Bedek Habayis. He checked the house. And then the Rashba answered and made a sefer Mishmeres Habayis. He's watching the house, refuting it. So there's a big machlekes about in the Rashba and the Re'u, what makes a homemade bread, what makes bakery bread. The Rashba held, and we'll still see the Machabalon says, bakery bread means he's made to sell it in the store. That's bakery bread. So if the baker sends you a piece of bread from because your neighbor, it's bakery bread. He doesn't bake bread for himself. He probably goes home and then the day takes bread off the shelf and takes it home. His good neighbor he sends, but it's okay. If a baker makes his own home bread at his home to eat and he sends it to you, that's pas balabais. So it has to do what he made it for. The Beit Gabais didn't hold out, but he held if it's sold in the bakery, in the bakery, it's sold in the bakery, that's bakery bread. But if it's the baker in his own home comes over to you and gives you a bread that's in his home from the home, that becomes pas balabais. So that's what Machaber says. Yesh mishim palta hizmi Yisrael. If a baker invited you, first of all, it's very interesting. He calls him but he says only that's a kasha on the Re'u.
Is it because he wouldn't know where he baked it?
No, we don't know. He probably the chiddush of the Re'u is that if a baker invites you to his house, that bread becomes pas balabais. And the Shach says that the long Shach that he says that this is a big machlokes, and it's interesting that the Mechaber brought it down. So he says maybe the Mechaber just wanted to be machmer that if your baker invites you into the house, then it's a chumrah, don't eat his bread. That's where because be'etzem, I don't want to go through.
That even if he invites him in his house,
that becomes it's a chumrah. Right, it's a chumrah is machmer for the Re'u.
They're all saying that even if a baker made it in his house, that's okay.
No, the Rashba holds. No, the Re'u holds. The Re'u holds that if it depends how he gave it to you. I don't care where he baked it. If he's you're my neighbor, and you're good friends, I'm giving you from my house, then it's a problem. The Rashba held it has to do why you baked it. You're a bakery, you bake it to sell. If I change my mind, the baker takes it home, he has some extra bread, he wants to give it to his neighbor, it'll be, according to the Rashba, be okay. Okay. This is not so much negeya, but today, this
You know bacon.
yeah, who knows a baker? It's
Well, the bread bakery, the breads are very good.
that's what people were saying here.
One second, but they have pasi salt.
Yeah.
Is it pasi so?
It's raw, it's not possible. They sell it to you raw and you bake it in your own house. They sell it far baked, and you finish it in your own house.
Partially baked, though.
It's partially baked. Uh-huh.
Yeah, it's partially baked, though.
So
There's two ways. They sell it in Costco, where you can buy the raw dough frozen and you bake it in your own house. You can buy it at Flatmark over here, where
well, they do the same thing, just a lot more baked.
Flatmark bakes it and they sell
So
it.
when do we have the problem of?
Gladmark is a kosher mart, huh?
Lama, right here, Pico. Never heard of it? Okay. So we don't have any problem today about befriending a goy. Isn't that the issue of pasta Yisrael?
Yes, it is. So if the shiksa next door made her own bread, then it's a problem. You're not allowed to eat it.
But
You
in
can't.
the shop, we're not worried about being friends with them.
Pas balto, they will makel, and only if there is, again, the original, everything was usher, then they saw it was too difficult to keep, so they will makel pas bakery. But that again, it depends. So the bread baker, if you finish the baking, we'll see later, everyone agrees it's okay. I didn't see that, that's not for the Shulchan Aruch. The emphasis is that many Achronim hold, and since you brought it up, that that one of the ways that if you buy pas, I mentioned, let's say, Matzah Pesach. One year I had to send my children, my daughter I had to leave Matzah Pesach and go on to New York. There's nothing you can get. I didn't want it to fly. Who knows to get stuck. So I bought bagels. If you reheat the bagels and make no crisp, some older becomes pasi so.
I asked you, you told me otherwise.
I said, if
That's when.
that's when. What do you mean?
I asked that.
Pas balabais or pas palta?
It's not Lender's Bagels, Pas Store, whatever you call it. I don't know.
Ah, I know.
Depends when, it depends when. That's an exception.
The Peskim are some makel and Masha, there's some makel like some makel when there's a need. You could be samech on that.
I understand, Rabbi Tauber, just to back you up over there, Rabbi Shalom, Rabbi Romer, he was a big Rabbi Lubavitch. When I lived in Hong Kong, he told me the same thing for us, that there was no dairy bread during the week to take Lender's bagels and to put them in the oven.
Yeah.
Freeze them
I
for-
told this to Rabbi Shoich, and he got very annoyed at me a few years ago. They had a problem, and so I told it to Rabbi Tern, and he got very annoyed with this kula. I don't know, there was a problem one year. A baker, I forgot which baker. It was good to know that in Chabad also. Yeah.
In LA, it's not okay. In Hong Kong, there's no bread.
That's what he was saying, it was Matzah Yom Pesach, there was no bread.
The Arpa is skimmer hold it like a triller. I can't say the Arpa. We'll get to it later.
But those places would say, Motzei Pesach, you're not mechuyev to bake bread, because if you have flour, and you have yeast, and you have all the ingredients of
No, everyone agrees you're not mechuyev to bake bread. Not everyone agrees to. But all the coolest, if there is a baker, not baker, you're not mechuyev to go bake bread. Go bake bread, matzah Pesach. You're not married long enough to make Pesach yet. I don't see. At home at your mother's home, you could have made matzah Pesach, go bake it. When the Pesach dish is out, she'll shoot you. Okay. Zuk de Machaber Dalet. Yeah, Mukem, she'ein palti samutzi. There is no palti mutzi. The Jewish baker is that das amatirim leker pas me palto gechurim. And we said you're allowed to buy. In Megia Sham, he says in Megia Sham palti yisur. If a Jewish arrives there, pas al the palti gechurim is sira sheimke palti yisur pitoy. This used to happen in the shtetelach, in the villages.
Right now.
You see in the Achronim, they talk about it. There was a baker, and the Yid would go put up light. It seems from reading many stories, when I was young, I used to like to read stories. Many people used to like the children stand out and sell sodas or lemonade. Literally, there were many people women would stand in the corners, bake bread, and sell bilkalach and who knows what. So if there's a Jewish baker there, is selling there, you're not allowed to go into the Goshen bakery. Right now, when he sold everything out, then you could go in. That's what he's saying. It's okay. Okay, these are not so much negeba. So the Mechaber hey weiter. Yes, Omrim. Shemish yesh beyuda pas. Yes, yesh palti so. Veshpalto vichum oise pas yufa memeni makes a better bread. The goy. Abimima achar, a different type. She'ein beyuda shepas palti so. Mitte liknois me palter of the choven. B'mukim shenagi hater b'pasha palter. He says, if this is going to the Mechaber, even though the Mechaber said the Mechaber is Machmer, but the Mechaber says if there's selling bread, that it's a better bread. What was the bread you said? French bread, or it's a different type of a bread, different grain bread. The people are people. Are you saying in Fakishift? People are sold on this Izukiah bread.
Or really good health.
Yeah, you think of the can't pass it so. Okay, I'm happy it did, but it was a key bread. I just want to tell you for the record, the bread in the Cheskel and Nuvi, it's mentioned as a key bread mentioned a klula. It says there'll be such a hunger that you're not going to even be able to make bread from one type. You're going to have to shovel together all different types of grain to make a bread. There's a key bread. You're looking.
It's a tikkun.
It's a tikkun, right? Now people ask me all the time because people think you don't have to wash for it. All the time I get this phone call. Doesn't make a difference. Spotted, you still have to wash and bench. According to the Shulchan Aruch, there's nothing to talk about. The Shulchan Aruch, the Siddur Rav, someone told me, one of the Shluchim told me in Shul, that in the Crown Heights, there's no such thing as Bezonis bread. I used to tell someone's man. There's no pizza also. According to the Siddur Rav, pizza you have to wash, even though it's made sweet, there's no question, there's no havamina. To wash and bench. Even though it's made with juice. According to Shulchan Aruch, the Siddur Rav, there's nothing to talk on. Danish is different. Danish is made differently. The Danish is, you can eat even after you ate a meal. No one sits down to a pizza after a Friday night meat. I want a pizza. It's not the ingredients. A pizza is eaten only when you're really hungry. Pasta is not bread. It's not bread. Pasta is not bread. But it's not bread. That's a separate dish. It's not bread.
Lasagna is bread.
Lasagna is also not bread. It's not bread.
Shushman says it's bread.
What?
Shushman said it's bread.
Lasagna? Lasagna is not bread.
Why would it be bread?
Why would it be bread? It's lokshin. It's a big lokshin.
I was also shocked. But he said it's flour and water and it's baked.
That's a mistake.
What is the mother you the family you come from?
No. That's a mistake. I will explain to you. The reason why pasta is not bread, because pasta doesn't have tzrisa than a hammer.
Not pasta.
Lasagna doesn't make it.
I know, but he says not.
Lasagna is what? Maybe I'm having. It's made of pasta.
Right.
Eh,
But
eh, the re-
pasta, you usually boil it.
You what?
Boil it.
Yeah,
You
that's
boil
what
pasta.
Yeah,
So
no.
his whole thing is that it's flour mixed with water and baked.
That's a mistake. All due respect, because the Gemara says, let me explain this. This needs explanation. Why you could sit down with a bowl of pasta and make your whole meal from it? You don't have to wash. You don't have to bench. There's no passion. Pas Akum. There's no problem of Bishul Akum. And the reason is the Gemara says pas has to have called tserusa the nahama. Has to have a tsura of bread, a look of bread. So it has to be pasta doesn't look like bread. It's pasta. The lasagna also doesn't look like bread. This long French bread looks like bread, and the Ezekiel bread looks like bread. Cookies look, it's baked. You see, it has it tzrisa the nahama. A lokshin is clearly. Tosis says that's why on pasta. No question. You don't have to wash. It's not a problem. The bishalakim. It's okay. What did you say?
Pizza?
Pizza is pizza. You have to wash and bench according to the Rav. Pita bread is mamish bread.
Pizza.
I'm saying pizza is like pizza with a
Yeah.
little stuff on top.
Yeah, if you scrape it off, it's bread.
Yeah.
So the separation between something that you have to wash for and do not have to wash for, if it looks like bread, or it looks like
If it looks like bread, then it's bread, but there's still enough community. Cookies, you don't have to wash in cookies.
because you wouldn't eat it as a meal. That's the
Because you could sometime, once in a while, you would sit down and make, Bukharim, are known to sit down and, Welcome can sit down and eat a bag of, just wash it down because, that could be the meal. But I'm saying, you do have to wash if you eat so much. But the Rav explains, pizza is never, he doesn't talk about pizza, he talks about, how's it called, Piram, Humantaschen. He says, you know what Humantaschen is? So he says, Humantaschen, you never eat it after a meal. It's only eaten like tray pizza. You're hungry, you grab a pizza. Now, how to trace Humantaschen?
Oh, okay.
So the way he describes it, it was like a pizza. If you finish a meal, you see a cookie, you might take a cookie. You'll never sit down, you finish a meal, I need another pizza. That's how it goes. Nothing to do, has to do that if you never eat pizza, only when you're hungry. That's what it says.
Pretzels are mezainis because it's a snack. It's not a
Right, but if you crave soup on it, you eat a whole bag, then you have to wash your mesh.
So even if you make pretzels with just like flour and water,
Yeah, if it's not a mitzvah.
What about crackers or crisps?
That's already, we're going to whole sugya. We could talk, but I just want to focus. But he said, I forgot his name. What's your first name again? But he said, I'm sorry.
The
What?
last thing he said also, with pretzels, Shiurim says that as long as it's flour, water, it's a motzi. Even crackers. Even when it says on the box, it says Mazonos.
what about milk?
He said, what is matzah? We wash on matzah. As far as them go. So he
Yeah,
said,
but the pretzels are not.
it says exactly
Yeah, but
the same.
no, the reason that's a kasha. The real reason that's a kasha on the Ashkenazim. And the teretz they gave the matzah was made as to eat its Pesach as bread, so that's the reason the Ashkenazim are machma. But pretzels never was made to eat as a bread. Pretzels, listen carefully, the pretzel was never made as a bread. The big pretzels, and I've seen this in New York, they sell these hot pretzels, I'm not talking about the gold brown, what is it called? What is it called? Whatever it's called, those pretzels are not made from, no one sits down and this is there my bread. You're nashing. You want to drink beer with a pretzel, you do that. But no one sits down. But those big pretzels, the warm pretzels sell in New York, it's a different thing.
What about the crackers? Melba toast and things like that.
We can't go through all the cookies, because there's so many different.
What's the line? The line is if it's a meal, that's the line?
It depends, each item is different. What you say, you have to know the Elchonon well, it's hard to make a clown.
There's no line.
There is a line, that means the Svardim hold, right, our local Svardi, the Svardim make a matzah, but even a mezainis. And besides Pesach. Chabad says so. The question is why the Ashkenazim don't. It's a kasha on the Ashkenazim. That's really the kasha on
So
that.
should we be machmer and wash on challah and only then eat matzah?
I never wash a matzah for that
Say we
reason.
should be machmer
Right.
and wash on matzah?
Well, I didn't say you should. I can't challenge the meaning. I myself never wash a matzah for that reason.
Except for fish.
Except for Pesach.
But if you don't have 2 rows for Shabbos, you don't have matzah, can you do that?
Lechem Mishnah about a matzah? Yes, because somehow you can make lechem Mishnah on a cookie too. There's an opinion.
That answers your question.
And lechem Mishnah on a cookie, some hold.
When the Mechaber says Yeshua, is it mutter or what's the status?
It's a big machlokes how to learn the Mechaber Yesham. The many shittas when the Mechaber says Yesham, what does he mean? Pushiri means to pass in that way. Most of the Chayim accept that. We Ashkenazim say
It's
that.
not a cloud.
No, the Sfardim have different rules than the Ashkenazim. What the Mechaber means. Okay. Anyways, Muk Mishanai Pas Shalak, we keep in the Daita, Noichi Yosef Paspalte, Mechashivu Ben Arei Kapas the Chukaloi. So again, so if a Sfardi wants to eat French bread, he's going to eat French bread.
Even if there's a kosher bakery?
Right, if it's better, your bread, what you mentioned before, that bread,
Right.
it tastes better according to the Mechaber, not the minig. That's a separate issue, we have a minig. But according to the Mechaber, you like that bread better, you're tasty, you're allowed to eat that bread.
What if it doesn't taste better, but it's more convenient?
No, it's not an excuse. No.
You have to drive like a half hour to get
That's a
there.
big machlokes how far you got to drive.
Like a mill or something?
Yeah, mail, but later learn how far. That's a separate issue, how far.
Walking or driving.
That's a big machlokes, we'll later learn. But I could put them, let's just focus, and it's not the driving, just it's better, tasty, and you're allowed to. Okay. So the Mechaber, Sivov. This is an interesting machaber. B'mukim shenahagi heter b'pas palter. So the place where they eat pas palter, afilu nulish bebeitzim, it was baked with eggs. Now, what's the chiddush? You would think, eggs, let me read my side, eggs is a problem of Bishul Akum. Because it's oila shulchan malachim. Let's not go into now, but later talk about it. So, if it is a problem of Bishul Akum, so what is if they put the eggs into the flour?
It's not there official for eggs.
That doesn't make it. It's Bishul to Bishul. The reason is because it's not eggs that you're eating, it's bread that has eggs in it you're eating. That's what it is. So that's okay. If it's smeared on top, the egg, today we have a spray, but when I was a young child, my mother used to, today they have a spray, I'm at the new world already today, but Al Kapunim in the good old days, you take it, dip it into an egg, and he says, I should put a meter. That's a machaber shitta, we'll soon see not everyone agrees. That's they put into the into the bread where they put a meat. They put meat into the bread, so like a pasta, like a pizza. They put meat into it. So the Chaba is going to later learn that Kif Yigim there's a problem. There's a taste of meat of Bishul Akum into the bread. Well, later on. Right, talking about kosher, coming of Bishul Akum. That's the question. So that, let me just focus. So the Machaber says the eggs on top of the bread is okay. So the Remo yesh osrem pas shebeitzim tuchem apushem be'en ve'betein megaba pas v'yesh be'em Bishul Akum. We Remo very machmer. All the breads? No, they don't put any more eggs on it. No. They don't. They put up as a different spray.
Oh, my wife eats eggs and
So yeah, that's your wife. But the bakeries don't put eggs anymore. They spray something. You have to find that out. I have no idea. But that's why they give OU and all this, all things, even though it's not pasiso, because they don't spray eggs on it. They spray it as an oil to give it a shine.
What about eggs in the recipe inside?
That's what he just said. Eggs in the recipe, but he agrees with it more because it's the eggs are not. It's not an entity by itself. It's not I filled up with eggs inside the bread, but on top of the bread, it's a separate thing. He holds it's the problem of Bishul Akum. Right? Well, right. Yeah. That's the meaning. Is I want to explain something. See, Bishul Akum is a big machlokes of acids the taste. Let me tell you what happened. Chabad next door. And Levi Yitzchak. What happened one time, they come in and they tell me the guy put on the crackpot. They have a bunch of crackpots, the chont, and they were arguing. There was yes, Bishul. I said, I'm chulent, there is no Bishul Akum. Again, I think I spoke it last week. No one serves cholent at a wedding. What did you say? The meat is a problem. So all you got to do is take out the meat. The chulent has a geschmack chulent a meat taste. Bishul Akum, we later learn, is a big machlokes, and the Chrein and Paskin, Bishul Akum does not acid the taste. Just the mamashas. What did you say? You have to take out the meat. If the goy...
You can't take out the meat on Shabbos. You take the beans, you can't eat it.
You can't. The problem is the answer is that the meat is take out because that's a separate body problem. Just explain. There's no iser of the Bishul Akum the taste.
What about the bones? Is that considered under the flesh category? Because there's like the people. I think bones. Well.
They eat the bone.
No, the inside. The marrow is that considered?
We learn by meat. We later learn that they made a plig. All meat is also Bishul Akum, even though you want to serve it at a meal. Mushel hot dog. We later learn, but meat is a very machim about meat.
Because it's chashuv?
Because meat is chashuv. It's hot. It's a machlokes nowadays. It's so many days of Shiurim because meat was so expensive and they ate everything. Today but lemaisa the cholim mamachmer. The meat, all meat is a problem Bishul Akum, even the marrow.
By warming or reheating,
There is no Bishul Akum. If you're eating,
something's cooked.
there's no problem. And Bishul Akum does not apply if they use the microwave. I don't know if you know. What happened? There used to be in our neighborhood. There used to be Noyach bagels.
Yeah.
Noyach bagels. Noyach, the bagels. And there was a big sign. It was a hashgoch of the RCC, and there was a big sign there on Noyach bagels saying, "Do not eat the eggs. Eggs upon Bishul Akum." So I asked the guy, "What's the problem?" He goes, "To make a microwave." So I told the RCC about there's no Bishul Akum in a microwave. If you learn Busa B'chol, you see there's no big kids. It's not Bishul Akum. It's not Aish. It's no Bishul Akum microwave. So if you're stuck someplace, you want to buy Noyach bagels or eggs, they make a sunny side up. Whatever they make, it's okay.
So what do you do with the chulip, Rabbi? If you lower separation, you really can't do it.
Well, you take out with the beans, some meat with the beans.
You take out some meat with the beans.
Yeah.
Bagel factory is the same way. The bagel factory here. But the eggs.
Oh, sorry,
the
the
eggs.
eggs.
They make it in the microwave.
Like a liquid, right?
Yeah.
They don't use eggs anymore. It's too expensive and it's too high in cholesterol. You know, they figured out a cheaper way. Don't worry. Would you ask something? What do you say? Well, there's no Bishul Akum
With kosher food.
with kosher food.
Before Shabbos.
Can she heat up on Shabbos on the microwave
For whom?
for her, and she's going to share it with
No,
what?
no. Okay, let's move on. Zug dir immer weiter. The oise niloish shekorin kichlech amin mesika shekorin lekech. You know, lekech Lubavitch is known for know what lekech is, right? Lekech in Brooklyn. Hem chal pas. We geschlagen pasher gekommen gam hem mit Turim. So bekitze you're allowed to eat that. V'lo imrina sheyesh b'm shem b'shel akim. There's no Bishul Akum on cookies. Yesh min loy shekorin kichla shoyb nois a barzen moshchen baz b'shav b'chelev oy chazi oy shidis the last chena mailing. Imagine they used to buy this in the Goyish bakery. Don't buy that certain type because it's known that sometimes they shmear it with chaza. Other times you could not, but
And that was it? That was good enough for them?
that was good enough. Don't eat it.
No hechsher, no nothing.
They didn't have the whole hechsher business started only in America.
Even if it was same ovens, it was the same.
I don't know. I have no idea what they're talking about.
It could be such a hot oven. It's not an issue, right?
Well, I have no idea. No idea what type of oven they use. I can't speak for them. The reason why we need Ashgocha today because nothing is pure anymore. Nothing is pure. They come up every few years, become new ideas. They have chemists working to figure out how to save money, how to make it delicious.
But hypothetically, if the you know is a 1,000-degree oven, the kasher is at every time, so that's okay. You knew for sure.
No, you have to do L'Shem kashering because how do you know they warmed it at the same place? That
You
doesn't
came
work.
first thing in the morning. 1,000 degrees, it's
No.
done. You can do whatever you want.
If it's done that way, theoretical, it's okay. Okay, let's just move on. Sivzam. Pas balabayis, pas from balabos. I want to just say something. How can you eat the eggs with the goy put into the challah? He doesn't check the eggs. So I want to tell you a big secret, Rabbi Sai. Checking the eggs is a huge, huge chumrah.
Shut up the video?
No. Yeah, it's a huge chumrah. I have this question people ask me all the time. My mother-in-law doesn't check the eggs and I don't want to eat there. And well, the reason, the two reasons. First of all, in the times of the Shiurim, they had fertile eggs. But since Rov eggs don't have a blood spot, it's not a problem. Today's eggs, unless you buy, you're health-minded and you buy with Trader Joe and you want to live to 130 years old and they eat the fertile eggs. They believe now fertile eggs. A lot of people called me with blood spot. I says, it's very interesting. Lately we don't find. They eat by Trader Joe's, right? You buy it was
It was Sunday.
you bought the Trader and it was blood spot.
It was from the market. I saw something red, I threw it out. I
But Trader Joe's has fertile eggs, and that's a problem. But normal eggs, what you buy the normal egg is not fertile eggs. You know what? The chicken. Only time the blood is a problem, it's fertile. But it's not fertile. There's no hen. There's no hen is a zucher. How you say the zucher? The rooster. The rooster. There's no rooster, so then it will never hatch.
So what is the red?
The red, some we don't know exactly. That's maras ayin. It's only a system maras ayin. So here it says clearly. Here Mechaber says there's no problem buying bread from a goy, even though he made his eggs in it. No problem. Not saying there's a minute to do it. You know that. I want to tell you another thing. You think the bakery stand there cracking eggs?
They use boxes of powdered eggs. They don't
Not
use
powdered, but not just powdered. The buckets of eggs. They have this huge bucket, how does it go? Pre-cracked shell. What do you think? The Mexican over there checks it and blood splat? No, he doesn't.
No, like they go through a scanning machine. I have a friend who
They do the scan machine. I know the scan machine is lately a law, nothing to do with kashrus. They demand lately that for the health, they hold it's not so healthy, but it has to be really red. They should take it out.
If an egg has a blood spot, sorry to go off topic, could you still eat the white of the egg?
Yes,
just take out the red.
that's now our eggs because if it's not a fertile egg.
I was just thinking Trader Joe sells
Fertile eggs.
They sell
It's different.
just the egg whites.
Yeah.
It's like a milk container. You can just pour it into this egg white.
Yeah, people told me about that, right?
So why not? There you go.
And what's the problem? There's nothing.
No, so
wrong.
I'm saying maybe those eggs had, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
But in a fertile egg, you have to throw out the yolk. For why?
If it's a fertile egg, you have to throw everything out.
Why does Kehila have a hechsher on eggs in the market?
For this we can shut the video.
I have no idea. Why does OU give a hechsher on plastic bags? I have no idea. Soap. And
It's
it,
an OU on Tide detergent.
Tide detergent. I saw OU once on Tide detergent.
Mr. Clean has an OU.
I have no idea.
Does it make a difference if the egg is brown or white eggs?
I think because you.
But does it serve label that it's fertilized?
I was told that, I don't know, I was told about a woman asking me on the phone, and it was about a year ago. People were calling me. One time I said, what type of eggs? To buy there. Lately they're buying, we have a Trader Joe's in our neighborhood, and they're selling fertile eggs, so very cheap.
It's fertile eggs. They advertise.
Yeah, it's called fertile eggs. It says fertile eggs. And I said, stop buying it, and they should stop having the problem.
Somehow brown organic eggs seem to have more blood spots. Not fertile eggs, but they seem to have more blood spots.
But that's
Yeah?
not a sign.
You use brown fertile
I
egg?
don't use, I'm just saying homes. Not fertile, I'm saying organic eggs.
And it has more blood spots than the other
Still
one?
my experience, I don't use it at my store, I'm just saying it's a I don't know what I'm.
Okay. Let's move on.
What's the Balabites?
Not a baker. Not a baker.
Anybody not a baker?
It was not a bakery. Zog the Mechaber Sam. Pas balabais is sir loilom. That if a pass of not a baker selling making bread is osaloyim filik konem palter the many. So Mechaber, this is very difficult again. Let me just reiterate. The Rashba Shitta is that a baker makes it, no matter what, it's always going to be mutter. If a balabais makes it, it's always going to be awesome. So look what Mechaber says. Pas balabais sir loilom. For the color palter memeni, that's even though the palter bought it, but since it was made privately by someone, then it's a problem. A filler sholchali sulabesa even sends it to a Jewish home. Doesn't make even though he didn't invite you. The next door neighbor sent you bread, that's a problem. Once it's made it for itself, is asa li'olam. It's very interesting. Last week I said, but if your neighbor makes rice bread, then you could eat it.
But I thought you can never trust a non-Jew.
What do you mean, trust for what?
I thought there's a saying that if you leave your food, and you question if the food is kosher because you left it with a non-Jew. So how could you ever buy food?
Who said it's not kosher without a non-Jew?
No.
No, there's no such halacha. There's a mistake. You never left the shiksa home?
Meat is or meat.
Even meat, you never left the shiksa home?
No, for sure.
So how could he eat from the meat? Maybe she took the meat and put another meat.
That was an Indian. I'm saying.
No. Well, hopefully we get to it. This is a very confusing to so many people, this halacha. We'll get to it now. A guy sells bread, the guy, we don't choshe the guy put dafka chazer to be machshir. So bread is bread. In those days, bread was bread. Today is a different problem because they put so many different things into bread. That's why we have a problem. But if it's bread, it's bread. If you have a neighbor who's that eats, doesn't eat, puts a regular bread. If it's a regular bread, it's not a problem.
Danny texted me, said in France, the bread is made, everybody makes it exactly the same. That they don't use different ingredients. It's very specifically made.
Okay.
That's why any bread is, that's what we're saying.
That's why it's kosher.
It's kosher.
But not pasisol. Yeah, then you have a problem in who makes it.
Right. Made it in this house and it's us.
Okay, shall palta miteres leolam, but if it's a baker, a filikona balabais men shall hoch visese emisha pas biyuda achshov el acha mishoide v'shasafia. That's the Rash B'shita. With the Chava Paskin, you go after the one who makes it. So if your neighbor sends over bakery bread to you, let's say sends over a bread bakery, which is pasiso, whatever, one of these pasiso. I don't care if she send it and decorate it nicely and send you bread with vegetables. It's okay. It's not a problem. And said it depends who makes it. That's what the real question really is. Okay. If it's pasiso, so I don't care if the neighbor was bought it. But let's say he celebrated kosher as a pasiso. It's not pasiso, you said?
Well, the bakery is not pasiso.
Okay, let's say pasisol, a bread that is not a problem. So the shiksa bought pasisol and she put the bread on a platter and decorated vegetables. It's okay. Doesn't make it since she bought it from the bakery. Right, that's what the shach asks. And so the shach says the machab before is a huge chumrah. Bakery passing like the Rashba, and that's a stira. That's just a chumrah. Right.
Which one before?
Let's see if, hey, I explained that. Let's see if, hey, Shiv Gimel. Shiv Gimel. Okay, zog the Mechaber weiter. This is an easy halacha, so we could move on. Yesh mishayim de mukhe shein palte mutzi klal mitter afil shebal abatum. Oh, Svardi left over here, did he? Right. Well, the Mechaber says if there is absolutely no bread to get, he holds you allowed to eat pas filabalabatim is okay.
How does this work then? He says it exactly opposite of...
No, he says the yesh mishoimer. There's a machloikis. The Rambam shit is not that way. The yesh mishoimer is who is this opinion? Yid Gimel. This is the Kolboy Shemreu. He holds that if there's absolutely no bread, you could get pas balabais. But that's not negaya.
It's a situation where there's no bakery, but
there's no bakery.
Bakes bread in their house for personal use.
No. For personal use. This is so not negaya because there's always bakery bread, Ralph's bread, and wherever you go in America, this is mamash kamat not negaya.
So why is bread so important? You have to toast this whole thing, right? Can't you just the other things?
I don't hear. Speak up, the one.
I'm saying why is it they make such a series of patches for different...
Because they have, see, we live...
Bread the most important food.
Yes.
That was
Kalechem yichya udam. Those good old days, all you ate was bread. You're lucky, you had a little bit something put onto the bread. Herring. We don't eat bread. We eat Shabbos, l'Shabbos we eat bread. I'm makpit, I'm only one in my family. I'm makpit, and my daughter's always dieting, but I eat pas shachris because the Gemara says, if you want to be calm, you want to be smart and not agitated, eat pas shachris. Every day. I do it as the Gemara. I don't have a great appetite in the morning, but I do it.
This is Ezekiel bread camp.
Yeah.
But that cereal, the hot cereal,
Gemara says bread. Gemara says foolish bread, not meal.
No, I'm saying the medicine
I'm saying the Gemara says pas. They had a meal.
It has the same carbohydrate.
It doesn't look like bread. No, that's why there's no problem with...
No, I'm just saying the Gemara says that it's mavu in the Gemara, it's bread, not bread. But it's mamish bread.
Eat bread for breakfast?
No. Oatmeal is nothing. Oatmeal is not a problem
You
whatsoever.
can't compare the carbohydrate content of bread in some other food.
I'm just saying, the Chazal say bread.
They'll find out, they keep on changing, so it's a bite, they'll go back.
What, bread,
Eggs are
yeah.
healthy now, soon bread will be healthy.
So instead of going to therapist, tell the guy to eat bread, pas shachris anymore. It'll be calmer. Okay. Zug the Marchabe. Hidlik oivin chum ha-taner, the goy put on the tanner. Now this is very important. What makes it possible? Hidlik oivin chum ha-taner, the goy put on the oven, v'ufa ba Yisrael, and the Jew put in the bread. Or shehidlik Yisrael, the Jew put on the fire, v'ufa oivin gechuvim. Either way it's good. Understand? The goy puts on the fire, the Jew puts in the bread. Or the Jew puts on the fire, then the goy puts in the bread. Or shehidlik oivin chum, ufa oivin gechuvim. He stirred the fire just a little bit. Nothing he did. This is only by pas they have such a kula. Only by pas. But Bishul, we're going to see later, big machlokes. It's strictly pas they have this incredible kula. He says more. Everything is a she'ei, adover Elias hacker, shepashon masira. Mom is just throwing a piece of wood. He says more in nipach be'esh have a kechiti. You know they used to have, I don't know what it's called. They used to have a billow. What it's called, a billow? Billow. They used to have like a billow to stoke the fire. That itself is good enough, Zugdrimo.
What about non-from Jews?
Now from Jews, if it was Shona Iperish, it was from an man of the Derech, the pas is pas Akum. But if they never knew anything, then it's not.
But it's only if you could watch them because they may make a mistake.
I had that yesterday. Sometimes the rabbi gets into trouble. I had an uproar in the Persian community. A from Persian calls me up and asks me that her very wealthy aunt is making this huge party. Before he's going, he says, in the morning, he says, my aunt doesn't keep Shabbos. Can I eat there? I said, no. So then another cousin called me up, but we are Persians, and so what? But where we eat kosher, I says, the Shulchan says a person's mechal Shabbos, you can't trust him. Then I asked the second one who called me, I want to ask you a simple question. Does your aunt ever eat outside the house? Not kosher. Yeah, if she gets invited to a friend, she eats with not kosher. I said, there's nothing you can do. Then I got another phone call. I didn't answer the phone yesterday. This is a major problem. If a person is not from, doesn't keep Shabbos, you cannot trust them with kashrus.
If they were once from.
No. Yeah, Persians are, some of them are not from the old country, right? Just because you can't, they don't eat kashrus. This cousin, one of them admitted to me, my aunt, eats out with her friends in trade for restaurants. So that means, so she runs to Ralph's and there's no meat, there's no kosher chicken. She's going to buy. Why shouldn't she buy non-kosher? She eats it herself. My relatives are fanatics. It's okay, There's no trust.
So when you say you could trust someone who was raised not from, that's only if they're helping you in the
Not
kitchen.
trust. We're not talking trust. There's not Bishul Akum.
That means they can help you in the kitchen.
Right.
You turn it on, it's not
Right. It's not Bishul Akum, but you cannot trust someone who is not Shem Shabbos.
In your kitchen, they turn the fire on, they cook you the kash in that pot when you're done with it?
Who? If
Someone who's raised from, not from today.
Rabbi Eshel, but later learn in Machlekes, you have to kasher Bishul Akum or not. That's a big Machlekes.
Okay.
Kashering, that's another Machlekes. But
The eggs, the same thing.
I think I'm getting confused because we're confusing a bunch of different topics. So, a person who's not from, who once was from,
he has a din of a goy, and it's Bishul
they
Akum.
cook for me in special act.
Right.
Even if it's in my house.
And you're watching.
Well, if you put on the flame, it's not a problem.
But if I didn't, I'm in the house, it's my house, it's my
Yes,
food. they cook
yes, it's a
there.
it's a
You're
problem.
okay with
Once
everything.
you throw a toothpick in.
But Bishul Akum doesn't help a toothpick. That's a big problem. People have told me this because they have sisters and relatives who come and want to help out. I have this question all the time. I always just tell them, put on the flames in the morning.
But if they weren't religious, but they're Jewish, they don't know any better.
If they were raised not religious, then it's not a problem with Bishul Akum.
And Lahav
Then
didn't
that's number one. Number two is that we don't trust
That's a separate issue.
It's a separate issue. We don't
Exception.
trust the person.
So let's say you have a relative coming who's not raised religious, so there's no problem Bishul Akum. A lot of cooking in your house.
Right.
Just tell them what the recipe should be. But if you want to go to a relative's house who's not from, and says, but I only eat kosher, you cannot eat there.
What if they show you the ingredients?
How do you know?
Okay, I'm just asking, is there any?
No.
But the Alhamdulillah Goy can help you in your house in the kitchen.
Yeah, everyone in my neighborhood, everyone has not one maid, two maids.
But answering on the flame.
But there you have to put on the flame.
No, but why shouldn't the Goy have the same category of Lahabal as the Yid who doesn't know anything?
No, a goy is a goy.
But they both don't know anything.
Doesn't make a difference.
No.
Only a goy is a goy. Goy. A yid is a question. A guy who was from who became not religion has a din of a goy, but not a guy who was not raised religion. That's a whole different subject.
Going back to the trust thing, the people that say they keep Shabbat, but they sometimes eat outside.
Then you can't trust them.
So what is it? Where did you drop
It's also what he just said. It's very important what he just asked. People ask me, you have a relative who keeps Shabbos and normally eat kosher, but they go out and eat treif restaurants. I've heard this also. The mamish eat treif. You can't trust them. But one guy told me that he has an uncle that way, but my aunt never eats out. His uncle, he's made a heta for his business, but my aunt will never. And it's okay. Your aunt, the lady runs the house. Right. She runs the house. But if you have sometimes people who keep Shabbat. Well, okay, that's amiratzis. That you can. You could trust them, yes, because that comes. Let me explain why. Now, let me explain to you. That's not true. I've been asked. Someone told me he has a relative who is a businessman, and his relatives, there's no question, they keep Shabbos and they go to shul, but in business, he has business meetings. Not just a salad. Yeah. Okay. Yes.
Suppose somebody was from their house, and for themselves they're cooking, they turn on a fire and they cook something in a pot for themselves. Do you have to kosher the pot?
So two opinions at the end of Shulchan Aruch. That if you're talking about someone who was religious became non-religious, two opinions. That if B'chalal Bishul Akum you have to kasher or not. Two opinions. Some hold you do, some you don't. It's very easy to kasher, just reheat it. It's not so difficult to kasher, just reheat it.
Are you mechuyev to tell somebody? Let's say I know someone's living in your house that's not from, and you don't know. Am I mechuyev to tell you?
And they're cooking.
Yeah.
Yes. They were from and went over there, you have to tell them. This person is not.
It's going to cause shalom bayis problem.
That's so what? It's going to cause shalom bayis, so what? They go to a therapist afterwards. Machem panusa. This is a mistake. Now, I want to explain something. Shalom has nothing to do what's right and wrong. You know that?
Anyways, I know.
Yeah, that's nothing to do. But if a person does something wrong, it doesn't make it rock the boat. It's wrong is wrong. That doesn't mean shalom.
I'm sorry to ask this again. The once from person who's no longer from, if they cook in your house official on, but if you turn on the flame, that's okay.
Okay.
What's the distinction between that and the person who never was from?
Because a person was not from is a tinik shenishba.
Right.
So may they have a din of Yisrael.
And
But therefore, it's not a Bishul Akum.
So even if they turn on the flame and cook everything,
It's perfectly okay. But a person who was raised from and went off the derech, then the Chazal say has a din Akim if he's Machal Shabbos.
is it din akum?
Right.
If he was raised from but was never from.
What does that mean?
Like from Bar Mitzvah, he was never from. Bar Mitzvah, he wasn't from.
But that's also that.
He went off there.
See, I have this question. I have this question.
He was a Tinat Shinishba, but he came from.
Let me explain to you why I have this question. We from birth get angry with the Rabbi Shalom. We just don't show up to shul a few days. You know what I mean? We don't say anything. We just don't show up, and we're angry. About Shuvah gets angry. He doesn't want to keep this week's Shabbos, and then he catches us some back. I find that to be true. From guy gets annoyed, so for the next few days you don't see him. Maybe puts on tefillin, maybe not. But then we all have our ups and downs. Unfortunately, the guy who is about Shuvah, sometimes they fall and they Halacha. But then if they come back, they come back. But if he threw away Yiddishkeit totally, then it's a problem. That's a real
So
problem.
if someone says they keep Shabbos, but not every week, what do they call?
That's a lot of hypotheticals there.
No, but this is,
this is a practice.
this is a real thing. You're ever encouraged, keep 25 hours, keep whatever you could. So someone says, I keep Shabbos the whole week, once a month that's flying business, because what does one have to do with the other?
Yeah, that is not a Shem
So
Shabbos.
it's not considered.
You have people who are becoming firm, but they're,
But that's not a Tinnik, that's a Tinnik Shenishba. They don't realize the Choymer Advurim yet. You know, they're coming from, they're trying it out, they want to see, they want to experience it, they want to know. That's growing. But let's talk, when he's talking about, I have a guy in my community, he was from, a frightening story. He made his in-laws from, he made a bunch of other people from, then he made a lot of money, the money went into his head, and then he became totally fried. You understand? He made a few people who are from my community, he made them from. So he's the now Mechal Shabbos. You know, I don't know what happened to him, but that's.
Can we just ask the person directly? Is that okay?
What is it to ask? He's Mechal Shabbos.
No, can we say, are you today Shemer Shabbos? Is that?
How about tomorrow?
No, it's not because Shemer Shabbos is not a commitment, right? It's a commitment. So if I know someone, let's say, was raised from, but I know he had his times off, and he comes to my house, I say, listen, my friend, are you today Shemer Shabbos? Meaning, if he's not trustworthy. So I can't even. No, not about that. I want to know if he my pots and pans.
Well, better if you have. I tell you, this trouble is more if you have wine on the table, not mavushal. That's a serious problem. I had a guest in my house, and I, there's wine, and he tells me, Rabbi, can you check if the wine is? I said, I look at the wine, it's not mavushal. I'm sorry, I cannot touch the wine. I said, why? I'm really not from. I was from, I'm not from. He invited himself for Shabbos. I don't know why. I'm not a Chabad. I don't invite people. He invited himself for Shabbos. I don't know what happened to the guy.
He's honest at least.
Yeah, he was honest, and he told me he was religious, and now I'm not, and he told me I cannot pour the wine.
So what do we do? Can we ask someone? Is that
Yeah,
common?
probably if a person, you can ask someone. Remember, it's a halacha, you can ask someone. Yes?
I want to get back to Goy. And I remember very clearly you said you cannot trust the Goy.
Yeah.
Cannot trust the God.
Okay,
Sure.
but you can trust the Goy to bake your bread, but
We're
you
not-
cannot beat your kid.
No. We're not trusting in breaking bread. When a goy, like he said before, you just said, someone texted you, bread is bread, whatever the French bread. We live in a society, we never know what people put into bread. That's what you can't buy. But in France, every bread is the same bread. It's a bread. I think in Israel also works that way, right? And that's just all I remember that. The bakery also the same bread and made the same way, and certain breads that. This is how it's done. So there's nothing to, we don't trust him. We know that breads are made this way.
You can't leave a Goy in your kitchen without supervision.
That's not true.
You
Well,
said,
yeah, that depends what. Depends what.
You gave an example of a woman who went to school.
Yeah, that depends what. But yeah, that's we'll get to it later again. But I'm just explaining bread, what a goy makes, bread is bread. Why can I drink Pepsi? Maybe the goy decided there's wine in this Pepsi. Well, so maybe it's not Pepsi anymore. Maybe it's wine. Because Pepsi is Pepsi. And Pepsi wants to sell Pepsi and not interested in selling wine. The same way you could buy Pepsi, you could buy orange juice. The only time you have to check once in a while because they always come up with new chedushim to make it sweet. Today there's a big problem. They came with grape juice, a certain thing that they mamish figured out to take, you have such a vial of sweetness which is worth thousands of dollars, as Kedem told me. They came up with a new thing the last few years. But otherwise, you're allowed to buy orange juice. Orange juice is orange juice. It's not nothing but orange juice. Like you buy coconut, the same way, bread is bread. We never had a problem. We only need a hashgacha today because things became, very interesting today. That's it's machines. They make the same machines, and they put they put all different. They put into the bread all different things.
That's the proof.
So a restaurant that has Goyish employees, as long as no one turns on the oven.
Yeah, that's what they do. All restaurants in my neighborhood, the owner comes, puts on the fire, and tells them what to put, and trust him. He's going to cook what you want him to cook, because he gets paid. Once he gets paid, he's not interested in to do differently. They just have to be Yotze V'Nechnas. You never know what he's going to do. Maybe he's going to cook for himself. And what do you want?
For wine,
That's right.
So if somebody touches wine with connection, but there's no problem.
There's no problem.
Oh, no, not at all. No. Oh, that's wrong.
What about there's some I hate to say it like this, I have a friend that's really Sephardi. They're from, at home they're totally not from outside. They say he goes to work on Shabbos, sometimes he doesn't keep kosher. He knows the halachas. There's no such thing as Reform Judaism by him. He knows the rules. He just was raised, never from. He was never ever from his entire life.
But he went to yeshiva, but he went to public school?
He went to one of these, it's a Jewish school with name on it. It's not
Yeah, so he's a Tinnik Shanishma.
even though he knows everything.
Yeah, he thinks like you're fanatic. You know, but when I have some,
He knows a lot. He knows
you know, then it's a
It's not
problem.
being from, it's about having the knowledge.
That's a being. I ask people. I have an interesting story. My block where I lived for many years, a girl became from, and she ate my house. She told me I lived there. I asked her, how did you look us from people? One word my mother told me I was young, fanatics. I didn't think anymore. I ever thought twice. I went to college and so on, and introduced me to Yiddishkeit, and you know, but if a guy knows what Yiddishkeit is and went to shul, he knows what Shabbos is, and doesn't look at it as fanatic, so he's just, then it's not.
But he makes a good point. He said he was never Shemer Torah mitzvah stuff. It changes everything.
No,
Where do you
doesn't.
draw the line?
There's a lot of Sephardic Jews that were raised that way, that were raised in a firm mentality.
Yeah, but if they went to, they know what Yiddishkeit is. They don't know what Yiddishkeit is. Many Sephardim think that this is just fanaticism. This is just extremist. You know, like you look at the Tirakarta, they look at us. And that's how it is. Everything is relative. That's how they look at us. But if some of them do know. Yeah, I know I should do it. You know, you ever heard these languages? I really should do it. I shouldn't go work Shabbos and Shabbat, and you know, but I got to go to work. You know that. He knows what Shabbos is. He just doesn't want to keep it.
So where do you draw the line?
That's the line.
So what?
So it's the knowledge.
If the guy knowledge, he really knows that this is not fanaticism. It's just like, you know, I should do it, but you know, it's too difficult.
Who had a kid who was in from house, they go to school, and they get so turned off from the school that they give it up. And it happens at a fairly early age. They continue in the house, the family is whatever, but the kid in his mind, just because of the way the school was with him and how he was in school, just
How old is the kid?
at this point, 35. No,
But a kid fries out.
Yeah, no, it happens a
The
lot.
kid was 8 years old, 10 years old. Certainly when he got into,
They're out of favor, they're going to public.
certainly when he got into school, like high school.
You know, it's. I want to say something. This is a question people ask me. You know, a guy goes to high school, he gets turned off. You know, we all could get turned off in high school. I was not such a tzaddik in high school. Don't worry about it. You know, I gave my teachers, my rabbis, but you know, it's and I had rabbis who were Holocaust survivors, and what they did, what they gave patch. I mean, unfortunately, they're getting hell for what they did to us. You know, I mean, it's frightening. I look back. You know, people going to the derech is like it's their own choice. It's excuse that the school. Many people, the schoolers and the friends is the excuse. It's the person decided on his own. By every reason he decided he could do it. It's not.
So you're saying he's not a Tinnik Shanishma?
It's not a Tinnik Shanishma.
What about a goy who knows halacha?
A goy is a goy.
Because I had a friend who was adopted as a child, right?
Okay, finish it. The question was answered.
The bar mitzvah, yeah, but at the bar mitzvah, all he has to do is say, yes, I want to be a yid, right? We're talking about someone who's raised.
No,
No. He has to have a gay.
Even if he was raised from.
No.
There's no.
No.
It's not simpler than that?
No.
If someone was adopted a goy as a baby,
What's the near gators?
what's my bar mitzvah?